Warm greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. It's hump day in America. What's left of it? Well, a correction officer has decided to lose herself into a criminal who was in her facility. And she and he are on the run. Vicky and Casey White, both with the same last name, are on the run as I speak. I'm going to bring you said commentary pertaining to this very baffling story. One will wonder, how did she get herself in this situation? Hello, Smitty D's. She chose the situation. There's no ifs, ands, or about it. She chose the situation. There's video surveillance of her putting the inmate in the back seat of a car. I don't think many people are going to think that he coerced, forced her, because how can he with handcuffs on? And also, there is evidentiary material that they had been conversing beforehand when he was in a prison. So therefore, they knew of each other before he ended up in the jail system where she was working before they went on the run. In my mind, I believe he planned this all out to bait her, to get to know her, to whine, cry, moan about his life. And she fell for it, unfortunately. 48 WAFF is the news source.
Tonight with surveillance video showing convicted felon Casey White and assistant corrections officer Vicky White walking out of the Lauderdale County Jail. The timestamp on the video shows the two leaving the jail at 9:30 in the morning Friday. You can see Casey is still in cuffs leaving the jail. The sheriff told WAFF those handcuffs and shackles on his ankles were later found in White's abandoned patrol car. The duo have now been on the run for 5 days, going on 6. They apparently jumped into this 15-year-old orange Ford Edge. U.S. Marshals say the SUV has minor damage to the rear left bumper. Now, here are the most recent pictures of the two. And now we know the inmate and assistant corrections officer had a special relationship. Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton says Vicky and Casey have known each other since 2020 and kept in touch when he was in prison in Bessemer. Back in Lauderdale County Jail, inmates say Vicky gave Casey preferential treatment like extra food and privileges. But the sheriff says there's currently no evidence anything physical between the two happened while Casey was behind bars. Well, tonight, we want to take you back where this began. This is not the first time Casey White has been a man on the run. WAFF 48's Kelly Schuyler joins me now in studio. Kaylee, Casey White has a lengthy criminal history.
Margot, Casey White went on a crime spree in December of 2015, firing at multiple people in Alabama and Tennessee. White led authorities on a car chase on Highway 31, traveling over 100 miles per hour. We're going to show you the body camera video from 2015 when deputies finally got White to pull over.
Look, calm down for me, brother. Calm down, all right? Casey, the sheriff will be here in just a minute. Can you put the gun down?
That's an exchange between a Limestone County deputy and Casey White. The night of December 2nd, 2015, Casey White broke into his ex-girlfriend's home, killed her dog, and held her and 2 other people hostage, firing shots as they escaped. But that's not all. After that, he stole a car, tried to hijack a trucker at gunpoint, and shot another woman whose car he also tried to steal in Tennessee. That brings us back to this video.
Put the gun down, and there's no need in all this. I'm listening. I'm here. I want to talk to you.
White peacefully surrendered that night. He was sentenced to 75 years in prison. While there, he confessed to the murder of Connie Ridgway and was charged in 2020. The Lauderdale County District Attorney Chris Conley says White later recanted that confession.
Corroborated parts of that confession, parts we have not, and just in full candor, he has recanted that. So, we think we have a solid case against him.
White faces 2 capital murder charges, one for an act of murder during a burglary and another based on murder for hire. But Conley says that claim is still under investigation.
He corroborated the burglary charge based on what we know about the crime scene and so forth. We have not corroborated the murder for hire.
White was set to go to trial in April 2022, which is why he was in the Lauderdale County Jail for pretrial motions, but his trial was continued to June. Meanwhile, Sheriff Singleton says they've gotten a lot of tips on where the two on the run may be, but they've turned into dead ends, but believe it's only a matter of time. Margot?
All right, everybody, that's said information pertaining to two fugitives that were in Alabama. Do not know where they are. Tips are coming in, but nothing has panned out to the location of these two lovebirds. Who is Casey White? Caucasian male. If you need verification for this information I just brought you, .48 WAFF is the source. I'm going to try to start this back over if I can. Okay, give you the information. This is pertaining to Casey White's criminal record. As you heard in this audio, his criminal history began in 2015. This is not the first time he has been a man on the run. On the night of December 2nd, 2015, Casey White broke into his ex-girlfriend's home, killed her dog, and held her and two other people hostage, firing shots as they escaped. But that's not all. After that, he stole a car, tried to hijack a trucker at gunpoint, and shot another woman whose car he also tried to steal in Tennessee. White peacefully surrendered that night. He was sentenced to 75 years in prison. While there, he confessed to the murder of Connie Ridgway and was charged in 2020. So now he is saying that the murder of Connie Ridgway was a hired job. Believe what you want. Lauderdale County District Attorney Chris Connolly says White later recanted that confession. So he goes on to confess for Ridgway's death. Obviously, because he's got the 75-year sentence, he decided to say, well, I'll go ahead and tell the truth about what happened to this lady. But then had a change of heart and said, nah, I didn't do that. Very interesting. We have corroborated parts of that confession and parts we have not. He has recanted that. So, we think we have a solid case against him. So, we feel confident we will convict him, said Connolly. White faces 2 capital murder charges, one for an act of murder during a burglary and another based on a murder for hire. But Connolly says that claim is still under investigation. We have cooperated with the burglary charge based on what we know about the crime scene and so forth. We have not cooperated the murder for hire, said Connolly. White was set to go to trial April 2022, which is why he was in Lauderdale County Jail for pretrial motions, but this trial was continued into June. Meanwhile, Sheriff Singleton says they have gotten a lot of tips on where the two may be, but they've turned into dead ends, but believe it's only a matter of time. Naturally, it will only be a matter of time because Mr. White can't conceal himself except putting on a wig. In the 2 photos that show in this commentary, his head is buzzed short. So he's not going to be able to conceal his height, which is 6'9". He's a very big man, tall man. You might conceal yourself when you're short, average height, change your hair color, eye color. But 6'9", you will stand out. I don't care if you're white, black, blue, green. That's a very tall person to try to conceal. This is some very crazy stuff. So he's facing charges beforehand. Alleged murder for hire, murder during a burglary. So that means he's violent. What made Miss Vicky talk to this person while in prison before he got transferred to the Lauderdale location? It is said that he had been shanked a few times, which means somebody stabbed him. And he must have got tired of people stabbing him. So he decided to bid to come to this county here where she was working. So one would say, was it an elaborate plan once he got to talking to her beforehand to try to come down to this location because he knew her, her position, which was working with the inmates and taking them to and fro to court, medical, blah, blah, blah. And he said to himself, I'll go down there to that jail, get in cahoots with her, and maybe hatch a plan to escape. And it has also been reported that he does like to escape and has attempted to escape other facilities. So who is to say that this was not an orchestrated plan to get into this Lauderdale facility because she had the ranks to transport him to and fro? This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you want to donate to the channel, would like to donate to this network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during the live super stickers. Thank you so much. Mr. Casey is dangerous. So that also begs the next question. One, let's start with, why was she conversing with him once he left the facility and then went to prison, then back? Did he hatch this plan to get close to her, to woo her because of her position? She also knew that he was dangerous. He had murder charges on the books. So why would you be talking to somebody that has killed somebody? Whether you were interested or not, why would you fall for somebody who has taken the lives of human beings? Be it by incident, accident, passion, murder for hire, it's still death. So why would she fall for a man who has killed people? It's not like he had drug charges. He had a lot of speeding tickets. He took lives. And took a life, I believe, of a woman that he was messing with, if I'm not mistaken, Miss Ridgway. So, Vicky, why were you interested in him? People are going to ask that. The people at your job feel betrayed by you, that you had a position, said the district attorney, and you violated that trust. Thank you, Eula. By being in cahoots with this man and planning a life with him. We're going to now give you commentary pertaining to one of the victim's sons, who has something to say pertaining to this very bizarre case. Newsweek.com is the source. Son of Casey White's alleged murder victim scared what he might do next. As the search continues for Casey White, the Alabama inmate potentially aided in escaping by corrections officer Vicky White, the son of his alleged murder victim, has spoken out. Before his escape on Friday, Casey White, 38, was serving a 75-year prison sentence for various convictions and was also awaiting a trial for capital murder in Lauderdale County, Alabama. Now, Austin Williams, the son of the woman Casey White is accused of stabbing to death in 2015, has told the U.S. Sun that he fears what the man might do next. He's a very dangerous person with a violent history, and anyone who comes in contact with Casey White and Vicky White needs to contact 911 right away, Williams told the outlet. This is a 6'9", 250-pound man who broke into a woman's apartment and stabbed her to death. Anyone who crosses his path is in a huge amount of danger. There's no limit to what he might do. Casey White is accused of killing 58-year-old Connie Ridgway during a 2015 home invasion. He previously confessed to killing in 2020, but later reversed his stance and pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay, so now in this commentary, it says this was a home invasion 2015. For some reason, I thought they said that he had dated her, but I believe that's the other woman that he held at gunpoint, so excuse me for that. All right. In this said commentary by Newsweek, you will see a picture of the inmate. At the time, he had hair. He's got some very big ears, so we do know he can hear. Shut up, Angela. That's not nice. Williams, 42, said that he was informed of Casey White's escape from prison shortly after it occurred on Friday. Before the situation was shared with the media, the Nashville resident was stunned and grappled with the fact that the inmate might have received help from someone meant to keep him locked up. It's all very shocking and frustrating, he added. You think you have the guy, and he's finally going to trial, and then all of a sudden he gets out, and someone is meant to keep him inside actually helps him get out. We want to see him back behind bars as soon as possible so we can learn the motive behind why he killed my mom. Corrections Officer Vicky White, no relation, was last seen leaving the Lauderdale County Corrections Center on Friday with Casey White. She claimed that she was taking him to a nearby courthouse for a mental health evaluation, but the pair never showed. The squad car she took was found later that day, abandoned at a shopping center with Casey White's cuffs and shackles left behind. It is not known whether Vicky White willingly aided in the escape, though Lauderdale County Sheriff Roy Singleton said that all available evidence indicated it was likely. She was also found to have violated a rule requiring 2 officers when leaving the prison with an inmate. Other inmates at the prison also reportedly told investigators that the pair had some sort of special relationship. That's in quotations. The U.S. Marshals have issued a warrant for her arrest, charging her with permitting or facilitating escape in the first degree. Newsweek reached out to the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office for comments. And let's see, I don't see a response to that. So we've got, I believe, Secret Service involved. We got the big boys involved pertaining to Vicky White and Casey White. Let's start with the jail. She broke protocol by transferring him inside of a car alone. There were rumors that they had a special relationship. So let's go there Did she ever get confronted by higher ups about gossip between she and the inmate? If so, what happened? Obviously nothing, because she left and retired same day, if I'm not mistaken. So how's it that the inmates thought something was going on and nobody that worked with her didn't think that? People talk, jails talk, correction facilities, they're all the same. If inmates are talking, then that means the bailiffs and the guards, the cooks, they're all talking too. So did somebody ever confront her in a authoritative capacity about rumors, rhetoric of her relationship with that inmate or any other inmate? Is this her first relationship with an inmate? Stay woke. She's worked about 16, 17 years. So has she canoodled with anybody inside and or outside? Did she ever have an inmate who got out and she canoodled, wrote letters, dated? See, you have to ask all the pertinent questions. And why would she let herself be finessed by a killer? You see, it takes all kinds. Her exemplary record means nothing, because as I've always told you on this network, you do not know people. There's no such thing as nice person, decent person, they work, good job, nice home, 2.5 cars. That means nothing. That means nothing. People do the craziest things for lust, love, in love, emotions, high, passion, whatever word you want to use for whatever type of courtship these two thought they have. Let me say have. I won't say had. I'll say have, but they're still together. Another question to ask is she still alive? Because some of you have commented on pages and in comment sections of articles that possibly think he may harm her. He is a violent person. And one thing you have to think about being on the run, it is easier to get caught with two people, because now two people have to look out for one another. I now have to look out for you. You look out for me. How's this going to end if we are confronted by law officials? Please do not approach these two, Vicky and Mr. Casey. He is dangerous. He is 6'9". He possibly could break your damn neck. Don't approach him, because he has nothing to lose at this point. So do not approach him. Don't approach Vicky either, because she has shown you she is diabolical as well to aid a felon out of prison, jail, and run away with them. Sold her house. Naturally, they've ditched the car that they were in. Gold Ford Escape. So what are they driving now? Let's get on with the next content pertaining to this story. Prayers for the son of the victim of Miss Ridgway. The son was looking forward to seeing this man go to trial, but now he's on the run. So let's see if he will be able to be apprehended by June to go to trial. That was source number 2 that I brought you by Newsweek. First source I brought you was WAFF. I keep saying WAFF. It's WAFF News. Sorry about that. That was giving you the information pertaining to Mr. Casey White's criminal history. He sure looks different with his head buzzed and just a goatee. Third source is that mommy has something she wants to say. Wow. This is the mother of Casey White. Thank you for joining me. New York Post is the source. Escaped Alabama inmate Casey White is not a monster, mom says. The mother of escaped Alabama inmate Casey White defended her son in an interview with the Post, saying the accused murderer is innocent and not a monster. I just have no idea why they painted him as a monster, Connie White said over the phone of her son, who escaped from Lauderdale County Jail. Let me say this, because something is really creepy about what I'm reading. The dead woman that he killed is named Connie. His mother is named Connie. His last name is White, and the correction officers that he has aided him out of jail, her last name is White. This is some 6-degree separation, creepy stuff I'm reading here. So stay woke. 2015, he kills a woman by the name of Connie Ridgway. His mother's name is Connie. Stay woke. His last name is White, and the woman who aided him out of jail, her last name is White. Alabama, woo, you're too damn small for my taste. All right, everybody, I'm going to get serious now. She's saying, I just don't have no idea why they've painted him as a monster, Connie White said over the phone of her son, who escaped from Lauderdale County Jail on Friday morning with the help of a rogue female corrections official, according to police. Wow, they already called her names. Connie said she spoke to her son the day before his vanishing and act, and everything was perfectly fine. Well, that's kind of what her mother said. Casey, 38, was let out of jail by Lauderdale County Assistant Director of Corrections. That's Vicky White's profession before going on the run and retiring. County Assistant Director of Corrections, Vicky White, 56. Now, mind you, Casey is 38. She's almost old enough to be his mother. She would have had him young, but hey, shut up, Queen. According to police who released video of Getaway Tuesday, officials have said Casey and Vicky, who are not related, y'all caught that? Not related, had a special relationship, though the inmate's mother said she was unaware of the bond. He never mentioned Vicky White, Connie said. He said he had a pen pal, but I had no idea who it was. So don't you find it interesting? He didn't tell Mommy Dearest about Vicky, and Vicky didn't tell her mommy about him, because you will hear commentary from her mother that she came to her house every day to pick up her dog, went home, went to sleep, started her day over. No social life that the mother speaks of. So don't you find it interesting? Two older ladies are saying nobody talked about the other one. Well, why would they if they're planning to escape out of a jail? That wouldn't be smart. Okay, back to the story, you guys. Vicky, who was tasked with transporting prisoners, had said she was taking Casey to a mental health evaluation at the courthouse. Police said the appointment was fabricated and the duo ditched her police cruiser in the parking lot of a local shopping plaza and had not been seen since, according to authorities. Let's go there. You mean to tell me nobody verified her going out of this facility with an inmate to verify that he had an appointment at the courthouse, mental evaluation, which I find very interesting. So that means what? The therapist was going to meet you all at the courthouse to talk to him. I'm just saying. In this commentary by NewYorkPost.com, you will see the inmate walking out of a door, and then there's a door on the other side of that door where you see Miss Vicky walking out towards the squad car. And he is in shackles and handcuffs in this photograph. And you also have another photograph of her putting him inside the back of a police car on the passenger backside door. Casey was serving a 75-year sentence for attempted murder, burglary, robbery, kidnapping, and animal cruelty. Oh my goodness, he doesn't like animals either. He was facing murder charges after confessing to the stabbing death of Connie Ridgway, 58. His mother claimed he copped to that crime to get a change of scenery at the rural county jail. Well, I think it's more than that, Mommy. I think your son found a dupe, somebody he could dupe, which was Miss Vicky. And he made up an excuse about being stabbed and this and that. He had been her pen pal, and he figured out a way to find somebody that could help him escape and get to freedom. That's what I think happened. He set this up. I won't doubt he set this up. So the mother is saying he only copped to the murder of Connie Ridgway, 58, to get a change of scenery at the rural county jail. The only reason he came out to Lauderdale County was to get out of the prison he was in, she said. Okay, listen at that comment. To get out of the prison he was in. He wrote a letter to say that he murdered that woman, but he didn't really murder her. He just done that to get back up here. He just wanted to be out of that prison because it was so bad and there was no food. Oh my goodness, there was no food. Oh, Mommy. Well, then, Mommy, you should have been putting money on his books so he could buy commissary in the prison. My. So what are the other inmates eating up there where he was? I'll wait. This lady's crazy. Casey and Vicky are suspected of being armed and dangerous, according to investigators. An ex-girlfriend of the escaped inmate who once testified he tried to kill her told a local outlet she was scared he would try to find her. They, the local police, promised to step up patrols, but we are freaking out. We don't know if he's going to show up and take us out like he tried to do before, the unidentified woman told WAAY 13 from an out-of-state hideout. Despite dire warnings from officials and fear from previous victims, Connie stood by her son when asked if he was dangerous. I don't think so. He's not a monster. I'll put it that way, she said before abruptly ending the call. He is not the monster they're making him out to be at all. Up to $15,000 in reward money was being offered for information leading to the suspect's capture. So if you see these two, you want to get your little free money in your pocketbook, call officials ASAP. Do not try to apprehend Casey White or Vicky White. 9 times out of 10, they are armed and dangerous. The mother has spoken in this New York Post, and she's basically saying her son is not a monster. He wanted to be up in Lauderdale because he didn't like where he was. It was bad. He wasn't getting food. And he only copped to that murder charge of Miss Connie Ridgway to get out of prison. Who's to say he didn't do it to get close to Vicky, to use and manipulate her to aid him in an escape? Because it is said he has done this before, tried to escape from a jail and or prison. That's the said commentary. We'll now play you. Let's see if I got one more article. Hold on one second, you guys. I'm going to make sure I play you everything. Woo. So I've brought you one of the victim's sons' commentary. I've brought you his background and history. I brought you commentary by New York Post that his mommy says he's not a monster. I'm now going to bring you the last commentary that I'm going to read, and then everything else will be audio and us chopping it up thereafter. This is by CNN. Vicky sold her house beforehand and took less money than what the home was valued at, for those who did not know. CNN is the source. An Alabama corrections officer sold her home days before she disappeared with an inmate. Now investigators suspect a romantic relationship. Extra food, special privileges that other inmates didn't get. Those are some of the clues that support the belief that Alabama corrections official Vicky White and murder suspect Casey White had a romantic relationship before both disappeared last week, said Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton. Vicky White, 56, and Casey White, 38, who are not related, went missing Friday morning after she said she was taking the inmate to the courthouse and was planning to seek medical attention because she wasn't feeling well. Now, mind you, it is now Wednesday in America. They have been on the run 5 days and have not been apprehended. Stay woke. But the two never arrived at the courthouse, and Vicky White didn't make it to the medical facility where she said she wasn't feeling good, everybody. There's nothing wrong with Vicky. Vicky is sick in love with an inmate, felon, murderer. All right. Vicky White is now the subject of an active arrest warrant for allegedly permitting or facilitating escape in the first degree, the sheriff said Monday. Authorities believe the officer and inmate had a romantic relationship that extended into Vicky White's non-work hours, Singleton said. Vicky White had made major financial moves in the weeks leading up to the escape. She had announced plans to retire as the assistant director of corrections and sold her home for a price well below market value. The home was sold on April 18th for $95,550, documents show, while online records show Lauderdale County lists the home's total parcel value at $204,700. Despite her retirement plans, her retirement papers were not finalized, and she is no longer employed with the county sheriff's office, the department said Wednesday. Well, now, really? All right, everybody. Vicky and Casey White's relationship traces back to as early as 2020, authorities said, when Casey White, who was already serving time in a state prison, was first brought to Lauderdale County for an arraignment on murder charges related to the 2015 death of 58-year-old Connie Ridgway. As far as we know, that was the earliest physical contact they had, Singleton said. So remember, 2020 is what they're speculating the paths of these two crossing when he came to Lauderdale for an arraignment on murder charges of 58-year-old Connie Ridgway in 2015. It is now 2022. Mercy. As far as we know, as they said, that is the earliest contact they had. Singleton said Casey White, Vicky White, had a special relationship that was confirmed in part by other inmates who told investigators Casey White was getting extra food on his trays and was getting privileges no one else got, and this was all coming from her. So let me ask, how was he getting more food on his tray? She didn't work in the kitchen, so explain to me how he would get more food during child time. So what are you saying? She went back in the kitchen and put extra food on a serving plate and brought him the food. So she's also what? The person that takes him to the jail? I mean, out of the jail to the courthouse. And she's also the one that, what, serves them their meals? What are we saying? And why wasn't she reprimanded for this special treatment of giving him extra food? It's very interesting. Okay. The sheriff said the pair kept communicating after Casey White was transferred back to the state prison, where he's serving 75 years for a series of crimes in 2015. Casey White returned to the Lauderdale County Detention Facility in February to attend court hearings in his capital murder case. The Lauderdale County Jail had a policy mandating 2 sworn deputies accompany inmates at all times, including during transportation to the courthouse. Singleton said that policy was emphasized after authorities discovered Casey White had a makeshift knife on him in 2020 and had planned to escape and take a hostage. And we do know he likes taking hostages because he did so with his girlfriend years ago and 2 other people. But last Friday morning, Vicky White ordered that Casey White be prepared for transport, telling the booking officer that since other officers had already left for court and she was the only officer available with a certified firearm, she was going to take him to the courthouse alone, the sheriff said. Being the boss and over the transport, she just informed the booking officer that she was going to carry him to the courthouse and drop him off, which was a flagrant violation of policy. But I'm sure because it was her boss, the booking officer didn't question it, Singleton said. So that's another thing. If the person is in booking, would they not see that he had a special date to go somewhere? Very interesting. Cherie says someone else was in on it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the booking agent, like a travel agent, knows the things that people are supposed to be doing that day to go in and out of jail, wouldn't there be something on a piece of paper that says Mr. Casey was supposed to leave the jail that day? So was there a specific, what I'm trying to say, was there a notation on the books for him to be leaving out to go to an actual mental evaluation? That's what I'd like to know. Is that a real appointment on the books? Because if it wasn't, would this low-level person not question their boss to be like, well, I don't see anything here on the books that he has a mental evaluation to go to the courthouse. So why is he leaving here today? And why is there another officer accompanying you? But as they said, she was the boss of this booking person. So maybe they didn't question it. So that's going to come into question as well. Was there an actual appointment at the courthouse? Okay, back to the story, you guys. The sheriff has described Casey White as an extremely dangerous person and cautioned people not to approach him if they see him and call police instead. Authorities assume Casey White is armed because Vicky White was armed. The U.S. Marshal Service warned Tuesday they might have an AR-15 rifle and a shotgun. Thank you, Melissa. Surveillance video released by the detention center Tuesday shows Casey White shackled, handcuffed in an orange jumpsuit being escorted into the back of Vicky White's patrol car Friday morning. From there, Singleton says the pair drove to a shopping center less than 10 minutes away, abandoned the patrol car and got into a gold or copper color 2007 Ford Edge SUV. The vehicle has minor damage to the rear left bumper, authorities said. Vicky White bought the car in Rogersville, about 25 miles east of Lauderdale County, and staged it in a parking lot the night before their disappearance, Singleton said. So she took it to a town by the name of Rogersville, good Lord, 25 miles east of Lauderdale. So she's planned all this. We know that there was never any effort to go to the courthouse. They went straight to Florida Square parking lot, dumped the patrol car, got in another vehicle, and left, Singleton said. We assume they are going to ditch that car at the first opportunity when they get wind that the description is out there, the sheriff said. So we're back to square one. That's a good question. She knows they're going to know within probably an hour or 2 hours at the most, that she didn't return. So now you got to ask yourself, did she purchase another car? Did she purchase another car because she knew she was going to have to dump the Ford? And it's the Ford, her actual car. I do believe I got commentary that she just got that car, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get into that here in a minute. Okay. Florence City Council member Bill Griffin said he saw Vicky White and Casey White on Friday in a vehicle during this escape. Griffin said he was out shooting a commercial for his council district when he saw Vicky White drive past him with Casey White in the back seat. He recognized her and so waved at her, Griffin said. They drove by slowly and she waved back at him twice before continuing on their way through a roundabout. So when Vicky was driving by this city council person, was it a regular car or a official car? Because that's very strange when he says she went by in a vehicle. He didn't say police car. So I'm wondering, had to be a police car because she had the SUV parked 25 miles out of town. And if he was in town, the only car that she could have drove by with the suspect in would have had to have been a police car. All right. Griffin said when he returned home that evening, he learned from his wife that the two were missing. The next commentary is by the DA. Vicky White was scheduled to retire on the day she went missing after almost 2 decades with the department, though her retirement fund paperwork had not been processed, the sheriff said. Now relatives and colleagues of the woman, described as a model employee with an unblemished record, have expressed disbelief about her disappearance and emerging details. Let's go back to the house being sold. She sold her house for less than what it's worth. That means she's only going to have a limited amount of money to feed 2 people on the run. God forbid he does something to her. That's one of the main questions I'm sure a lot of you are asking. Is he going to hurt, harm her, kill her, take her money? See, she's not very bright because you're already in cahoots with a murderer. It would be nothing for him to kill her, dump her somewhere, and go on the run with the money. She's also not going to get her retirement money because she just filed the paperwork. This is not a very bright woman, because it seems like to me you would have waited to get your retirement money. But then, of course, she wouldn't be able to have gotten him out of the jail by waiting on the retirement money, because then she wouldn't have had access to the jail to get him out. This is not a very bright cookie. Blemished or unblemished, it doesn't matter. She knows exactly what she was doing, everybody. Okay, where was I? All right. As I said, she's been working with the department for almost 2 decades. She just put up her retirement fund paperwork, but it had not been processed. Now, relatives and colleagues of the woman described as a model employee with an unblemished record have expressed disbelief about her disappearance and emerging details. Lauderdale County District Attorney Chris Connolly last spoke with Vicky White the day before she disappeared and said he was absolutely stunned to learn of the situation. Connolly described the officer as the most solid person at the jail. I'm so disappointed in her, he said. She was trusted and she exploited that trust. Vicky White's mother, who she had been living with for the past 5 weeks after selling her home, said she never heard her daughter mention Casey White and was shocked to find out she had gone missing with an accused murderer. As a mother, I didn't know how to act because I thought at first it was a mistake. And then when I found out for sure it was just disbelief, Pat Davis told CNN affiliate WAAY. Davis lived next door to her daughter and said the below-market home sale didn't raise any red flags, she told CNN on Wednesday. She would come home after work, eat supper at my house, and pick up her dog, she told CNN. She'd walk her dog, and that was her routine every day. They last spoke on Friday and discussed her dog, Davis said. The Marshal Service is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to the location of the fugitive inmate and up to $5,000 for the missing officer. CNN is the source. So we got two mommies naturally shocked. His mommy says he's not a monster, not dangerous, doesn't know why the media is portraying her son as his monster. And this mother naturally is shocked. I saw her in a video earlier, very older lady, who feels he may harm her child. And that is to be expected from anybody that knows that the man has killed people. That's a natural assumption. Thank you, Smitty. That he possibly will kill her, because let's keep it real. No disrespect to Vicky, but Vicky, you have made a very dire mistake by getting in cahoots with this man, pen paling him, and now aiding him out of a jail. You have sold your house for less value. You're not going to get your retirement money. You've left your elderly mother behind. I do not know how many children your mother has. Your mother has to be absolutely devastated that her girl child has taken up with a convicted murderer and now on the run with him. Yes, she's going to fear for your safety because she's not a dodo bird to be an old lady. The old lady's pretty bright. She knows the propensity you have, so who's to say you won't knock her off, steal the money, and keep it moving? Because Vicky is dead weight. No disrespect to Vicky, but Vicky has committed a crime. She has aided an inmate out of jail, awaiting trial. A murderer at that. We're not talking about somebody that sold a little drugs. You know, a non-violent offender. He's took a life, shot at people, carjacked people, robbed people, broke in somebody's house, stabbed somebody. He's off the chain. And now you are in cahoots with him alone. No more pen paling, no more putting extra slop on a tray at the jail. It's now touchy-feely. Oh, I love you. I need you. Oh, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get away? Hell yeah, she might not be alive. And that would be even more of a travesty that this woman let this thing finesse her into giving him extra privileges at the jail to only get him out of there. Yes, dead weight, literally. Because it is easier to be on the run with one. Not having somebody in tow, such as a child, children, lover. Easier to hide by yourself than trying to hide with somebody else. She's going to have to change her hair color. She's got this hot blonde hair. She's going to have to chop it off, dye it red, dye it black, contact, shades, mask, all of that. And he's a big guy, so he can't conceal his height. But he'd have to at least wear a wig, baseball cap, or something. And now it's warm, so you can't hide under clothes. You two are fools. Vicky, we're going to pray for you that you do the right thing and call the sheriff. He's asked for you to call him to get yourself out of this mess because you are going to face prison time for aiding him out. That's no doubt. And obviously they have proof that you two were talking to each other beforehand. Pen pals. And naturally, she wasn't going to tell her mother she's talking to a damn inmate. And he wasn't going to tell his mother that he's found him a dummy to break him out of prison. Jail, excuse me. Let's go to the audio. We're going into the YouTube queue now. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Hope you're enjoying the content. One of the commenters wanted this story because I was not going to cover this story, but somebody asked me my opinion. So I decided to go ahead and go live and bring you all the said information pertaining to this very baffling story. This is some hot mess, you guys. We're going to pray that he does not harm her or anybody else out there. And do not bring your ass to Tennessee. We got enough drama up here. Please, please, please don't come up here. Please don't come to Tennessee. We got enough going on. All right, everybody. Let's see what they're saying in the streets. We're going to recap everything I just brought you. Everything is in the YouTube queue. If you need verification and post it to my community board. WHNT 19 News is the source pertaining to her selling her home. One moment, please. Yeah, don't come here.
And have been with the sheriff's office for 16 years. Now, if you see either of them, call 911 immediately.
News 19's been providing you team coverage throughout the day on this case from Lauderdale County. We begin with News 19's Jerry Hayes, who's been following this case very closely. Jerry.
Greg, right now, the biggest two questions that loom over this investigation, where are they now, and how did Vicky White become involved with an inmate who's accused of murder? Now, Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton says that she had a good record, as Emily just mentioned, with her 16 years with the department. But the day before they disappeared, she turned in her retirement papers. Now, right now, once again, the sheriff's office has issued an arrest warrant for Vicky White in connection to Casey White's escape. The sheriff says he cannot be certain if she was coerced or if there was a romantic relationship between the two, but right now, she is a suspect in this case. News 19's Addison Woolman joins us now live. And Addison, you were at a news conference with the sheriff earlier today. What led him to file charges against Vicky White?
Jerry, surveillance footage showed that her sheriff's vehicle was parked at a red light miles away from the Lauderdale County Courthouse, where she was supposed to be taking Casey White only minutes after she left the Lauderdale County Detention Center. According to Sheriff Singleton, she had told other officers that she was going to be transporting him to the Lauderdale County Courthouse for a mental health evaluation, but unfortunately the tape tells a different story.
That video was time stamped at 9:49 a.m. Director White and Casey White left the detention center at 9:41 a.m. There was not enough time for them to even attempt to try to come to the courthouse and then get out there and be at that red light 8 minutes later.
On Monday, Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton said the department issued an arrest warrant for Vicky White in connection with Casey White's escape. The sheriff says while he is unsure of how the two are connected, they know that she assisted in escape in some capacity. Under department policy, a single officer should never transport an inmate charged with capital murder. And Casey White is not only 6'9" and nearly 300 pounds, he has a history of escape attempts and violence. But as the assistant director of corrections, Vicky White was in charge of all inmate transportation.
She has been an exemplary employee. I was told by the director of the jail that Friday night it was like he was at a funeral wake. The employees are just devastated that she was involved in this, and they're concerned for her, concerned for her safety, as are we. And, we just hope that this has a good ending.
According to the sheriff, White left the detention center with Casey White at 9:41 Friday morning. Nearly 2 hours later, Florence police spotted her vehicle parked in a nearby shopping center, empty. Around 3:30 that afternoon, almost 7 hours after they initially left the jail, the sheriff's office discovered the two never arrived at the courthouse. News 19 has learned that Vicky White sold her home for $95,500 on April 18th. According to Sheriff Singleton, Vicky White had talked about returning for months. News 19 has learned that Vicky White sold her home for $95,500 on April 18th. According to Sheriff Singleton, Vicky White had talked about retiring for months, and Friday was supposed to be her last day working at the jail. The U.S. Marshals Service has offered a $10,000 reward for the information that would lead to the arrest of Vicky and Casey White. The FBI, ATF, Secret Service, and Alabama Law Enforcement Agency are assisting in the search as well. For now, live in Lauderdale County, Addison Willman, News 19.
All right, everybody. That's said information coming out of the queue. It's on my community board. If you need to verify, WHNT News 19 is my audio source. So, exemplary worker, retired. Not going to get the retirement now. Sold her house for less than what it's worth. Lived next door to her mother. Left an elderly woman behind. Why would you do this, Vicky? You care nothing about yourself, your livelihood, your pension, having a decent life, meeting a decent man, somebody that could offer you something that you feel like this was the best you could do. We're going to chop all that up after I play all the audio. We're also going to, I probably will drop the link for anybody that wants to give their opinion, because I think we should hear opinions of people. Everybody has a story to tell. This is Vicky's story. She let herself become immersed in a hot mess. Instead of pillow talk, it was sweet talk. I like you. You're pretty. I don't want to be here. I got to get out of here. I'm really a good person. I made a mistake. They got the wrong guy. I'm sure he laid it on thick. She fell for it, and she should have known better, because if she's been in the game 16, 17 years, she knows that they will sweet talk you and say anything to get extra slop on the plate, phone call, whatever. They can finesse, because that is the reason why most people are incarcerated. They know how to talk people into things. Stay woke. We're going to address that too. Not knowing people. The Queen's going to share a story with you to show you how you don't know people, and you can get yourself hoodwinked and bamboozled very easily by listening to people speak. You see, you're only worth your word. You're not worth anything but that. And if you can't be truthful or honest, then who am I speaking to? And that's what's going on here. But Vicky knew better. This isn't your typical bad guy syndrome. She picked the wrong guy to like or date. This is totally, totally different. All right, here we go. Source number 2. An inmate has something to say about Vicky White and Casey White. WVTM 13 News, very popular station out of Alabama, has commentary. Thank you for joining me.
Office in Lauderdale County also confirming the couple had a special relationship that may have been building and taking place for years. Sam Brock has the very latest.
In this newly released surveillance video, the pair left the jail last Friday like it was any other day. Corrections officer Vicky White holding the door open for accused killer Casey White, who was handcuffed and shackled. They can later be seen popping into Vicky White's patrol car, but the man serving 75 years in prison for violent crimes and the deputy honored with 4 Employee of the Year awards have not been seen since.
We have discovered some evidence that confirms that there was a relationship outside her work hours. I'm not talking about a physical relationship, but outside her work hours, there was some contact between the two.
The sheriff giving us a tour of where White, facing capital murder charges, was staying.
Here, Casey White's cell is the first cell here on the left. You got 2 windows. One of the windows looks into the bunk room.
A former inmate expressing shock over the deputy now suspected of freeing the massive 6'9" convict.
Everybody loved her. Nobody had nothing but good things to say about Vicky, ever.
In this small Alabama community,
I think they left the area. They had a 6-hour head start.
many are playing armchair detective, with curbside chats turning from confusion to concern for the deputy.
I think she maybe was thinking that they were going to have a relationship. He's playing her.
The sheriff's department confirming this 2007 Ford Edge with damage to the rear bumper was their getaway car, though miscommunication led a local police department to publish that alert before the time was right.
It's basically put us back to almost square one. We know they're going to probably get rid of that vehicle, so now then we're not going to have a clue again what they're driving.
Vicky White's former mother-in-law worried about a woman she says would never stray far from home and loved her family.
I figure he's done something to her. We probably won't ever hear from him.
Again, that is Sam Brock, and we will continue to follow this story. For any breaking news or the latest updates outside of our newscast, remember, download that free WVTM 13 app.
All right, WVTM is my second source. As for somebody's comment in the chat about the age difference, a con doesn't see age. A con will manipulate anybody that will go along with the con. It wouldn't have mattered if she was 30, 40, it's all the same. He found somebody to dupe. It just so happened to be an older woman. Remember, the woman that he murdered was older. Stay woke. Pay attention to the details, everybody. Audio number 3. News Nation. Alabama sheriff to officer who vanished with inmate. Get back here. He's talking to her like she's his child. Sheriff, it's too late. She's made her mistake. She's made her bed. Now she's going to have to lie in it. Maybe she will change her mind when she realizes how hard it is to be on the run, because she's dealt with inmates on the inside, but she hasn't dealt with being on the run. You have to have a certain type of demeanor to stay low under the radar. It's not even the same as being homeless. Even in being homeless, you can walk around, be seen, but you're on the run. You can't talk to people. You're looking over your shoulder. You got to watch what you say. It's a terrible way to live. And as I said, they're both too conspicuous because people know what they look like. And he is a very tall, big man. Ex's relative. What are you saying? Is it possible that he is her ex's relative? I don't know what you're saying, Mary. Hold on, you guys. News Nation Now is my third audio.
County Sheriff's Department in Alabama, and he is leading this investigation tonight. Sheriff, we appreciate your time. I know you've got a lot on your hands here. You have said this is the Vicky that you do not know. Friday, she announced the retirement. Kelly just mentioned she sold her house. Now you have issued this arrest warrant for your colleague. Is it possible that this officer had everyone fooled?
I think it's not just possible. I think that's probably what happened. She's been with the department almost 17 years. She has a clean record, not a blemish on her record. If you needed anything done at the detention center, she was the go-to person. We're just in shock that she would have participated in something like this, but it's obvious that she facilitated this escape, whether it was willingly or coercion, and she's involved in it. And we're trying desperately to follow every lead we can so we can get her and especially Casey White back in custody.
Yeah, he's dangerous. Sheriff, I want to look at the timeline with you for a moment. According to what we have here, Vicky left with Casey White at 9:41 a.m. Friday. Her patrol vehicle was spotted at about 11:34, and it wasn't until about 3:30 that afternoon that a booking officer said they had been trying to reach her and were unable to. So by my calculations, they may have had a 6-hour head start. Is that correct?
That's correct. There were attempts during that interim time where efforts were made. The Director of Corrections contacted her via text message between 10 and 11 and told him that he needed to see her before she left for the day, that he assumed she was still in court at that time. He texted her an hour or so later, said that he understood she had gone home sick, that she hoped she got the feeling better. And of course, that afternoon, about 3:30, the booking officer came to the other assistant director over administration and informed her that she had been trying to get in touch with Director White several times, and her phone was going straight to voicemail, and that she was concerned and that she had checked and that Casey White had not been returned to the detention center.
Right. What more can you tell us about their relationship at this point as you're starting to look over surveillance video with inside the jail, asking people who knew both of them closely, other inmates, family members? What more do you know about the tie between these two?
Well, as the Assistant Director of Operations, Director White was all over the jail frequently. She was up and down the hall. She had contact with every inmate in the facility. So, she obviously had contact with Casey White. We don't know if there was a romantic relationship between the two or not. We've gotten information from some of the inmates now that there was. But when something like this happens, you get all sorts of information from inmates, and you don't just take it down on the for its word. You have to look into it. But we've been doing that, and trying to determine if there was a relationship. We're checking phone records on Casey White, see who he was calling, contacting outside, see if there's any other contact outside normal duty hours between the two.
So she dumped her patrol car in an area where there was not a security camera. So do you even know what vehicle you may be looking for tonight?
We've got some leads that we're following up on. Hopefully we will be able to identify a vehicle shortly. The place where the car was abandoned, the patrol car, is about 2 miles from the detention center. It's about a 9 or 10 minute ride. We did find video footage from a local service station that shows them at a major intersection 2 blocks from where the car was found. And the time stop on that camera was 9:49. She left the detention center at 9:41. So what that tells us is that she went directly there. There was no diversion In other words, she never apparently even went toward the courthouse. If she had, there would have been enough detours there'd been no way possible she could have been at that intersection in 8 minutes.
Yeah, but the overarching question here, in addition to the focus on finding them, Sheriff, is how could this have happened? I mean, this particular inmate, people were aware that he had a plan potentially to escape. How there was not more oversight and security in place to prevent this. How do you answer that question tonight?
Well, Vicky White was in charge of that.
But that wasn't enough. One person, right? Is the protocol 2?
What I'm saying is she was in charge of arranging all transports. Just minutes prior to Vicky White leaving the facility with Casey White, we had 2 vans with inmates go to the courthouse for court appearances. One van had 7 inmates, 2 deputies. The second van had 5 inmates, 2 deputies. She went to the booking officer, or actually went to another correcting deputy, told him to bring Casey White up and prepare him for transport. That means putting the handcuffs on, the leg shackles. He did that. She told the booking officer that all the other officers were tied up, that she was going to carry him to the courthouse and drop him off, and then she was going to get medical attention because she didn't feel well. She's a supervisor over all these people. So she had, there were no other armed certified deputies there. So that, what she told the corrections officer was true, but now we think that she probably orchestrated all that so that they would all be gone.
Well, Sheriff, they are both considered tonight armed and dangerous. A warrant for both of them has been issued. If you could send a message to Vicky and Casey right now, what would you say?
To Vicky, your coworkers are just devastated. You need to get back here and we need to get this straightened out. To Casey White, we will find you. You will be back in prison. You better be looking over your shoulder.
Sheriff Rick Singleton with Lauderdale County. Sheriff, our best to you and your team as you try to find these 2 tonight. The risk to the public is great until they are found. Sheriff, thank you again. And we will continue to cover this story and bring you any updates on the search for both Vicky White and Casey White in Alabama. And as I said, they had hours to get out of town, so they could be anywhere tonight. We will bring you updates as they warrant here on News Nation. Thanks for watching.
News Nation. It's the source. Sheriff is talking like somebody's granddaddy. Now, girl, you get on back here now. Come on back now. I have to admit, he seems very, I don't know the word I want to use, but he's talking to her like she's a child. You come on back here now. We're past that stage, Sheriff. She's a grown woman. She made this decision to go concoct this plan or went along with the plan. Whoever said what to whom first, because we're going to chop all that up. I want you all to join me to give your commentary, because I don't want to be the only one giving commentary pertaining to this very bizarre story. This has happened before. I meant to get the information before going live, but this story has happened before. Those of you who follow true crime. WHNT News. This is the background on the missing inmate. Thanks for joining me.
In 2015, he was involved in a 2-state crime spree that included the attempted murder of a former girlfriend and 2 other men and kidnapping. Now, that crime spree ended in Limestone County, and News 19's Madison Neal has more from the man responsible for arresting Casey back in 2015.
That's right, Emily. Former Limestone County Sheriff Mike Blakely arrested Casey White in 2015. Blakely says that he's known Casey since he was a little boy, but he was a man on the run from the law enforcement in 2 states when Blakely encountered him back in December of 2015. Blakely recalled the events leading up to that standoff between his deputies and White in 2015. He said that White broke into his ex-girlfriend's house, shot at 2 of her friends, and shot and killed her dog. Blakely says that after that, White went on a hunt for a car, attempting 2 carjackings and successfully stealing a 3rd car. Following a late-night chase, Limestone County deputies cornered White. That's when White began pleading for the sheriff to intervene.
Just put the gun down. The sheriff will be here in a minute, okay?
I got there just a few minutes afterwards. Of course, it was like a standoff. Everybody was there with the AR-15s. Casey standing out in the middle of the roadway with 2 Glock 40 caliber pistols, one stuck to each side of his head. and talking about killing himself. And when I got trying to talk to him, he wanted me to call his mama and tell her he loved her. And I kept trying to talk Casey into, surrendering and telling him nothing was going to happen. He said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to make y'all kill me," which could have been a very, very bad scene. But I put him in my truck, brought him back up to the jail where he stayed there for a couple of years before actually getting sentenced and being sent to the penitentiary.
And White received a 75-year sentence for the state prison for the events that Blakely described there. He was in the midst of that sentence when he was transported to the Lauderdale County Jail after allegedly confessing to being contracted for the 2015 murder of Connie Ridgway.
So again, if you see either Casey or Vicky White, call 911. Do not approach them. We'll continue to bring you the very latest from Lauderdale County throughout the night. You can also use our news app to get to our content. It'll also be on WHNT.com.
All right, everybody. That's WHNT News 19. Excuse me 1 minute. I'm trying to get my information up here so we can have somebody come on up. I'm going to play you some more audio. Woo, this is very crazy. WHNT 19 again, pertaining to the security footage. It's on my community post if you need verification.
Right now is in the middle of a manhunt, and it includes one of his longtime trusted jailers and a capital murder suspect. That suspect was already serving 75 years in prison for attempted murder and kidnapping.
Sheriff Singleton told News 19 today that jailer Vicky White was in a romantic relationship with Casey White, who has a history of violence and escape attempts, and the sheriff is worried about Vicky White's safety. News 19's Addison Woman spoke to the sheriff this evening about the suspects and about the effort to capture them.
Sheriff Singleton said his investigators have been working to trace the steps of the suspects and try to understand their relationship. He said this has given them some answers, including an apparent getaway vehicle, but is concerned about Casey White's history of violence. News 19 obtained this video from the sheriff's office showing Vicky White leading Casey White into her patrol car, closing the door and driving out from the detention center. Reports from inmates inside the jail say that Casey White received special privileges over other inmates, such as extra food and attention. We also know that Vicky White purchased a copper-colored 2007 Ford Edge SUV before the escape, which was last seen in Rogersville last Friday. The details about the SUV were leaked on social media this morning. Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton says that hindered the investigation. He also says Casey should be considered even more dangerous given the circumstances.
They posted it on social media. It was law enforcement sensitive information, and so that word has gotten out prematurely. We were hoping to hold on to that information another day or two in hopes that we could see the car on the road or whatever. I suspect they're going to ditch that car, so now we're back to square one, not knowing what they're driving. He's already killed once. And he's facing the death penalty, so he has absolutely nothing to lose. And, if she becomes a liability to him or slows him down, then I think he's very capable of, hurting her seriously, even killing her.
News 19 has also learned that Vicky White had checked into a hotel the week prior to the escape. Authorities have announced that in addition to the $10,000 reward for information that would lead to the arrest of Casey White, there is now a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Vicky White. I'll continue to bring you the latest on this case as we learn more. For now, though, live in Lauderdale County, Addison Woman, News 19.
All right, that's News 19. WHNT. It's in the YouTube queue. A lot of information. All right, that's the latest I have on all of that. If you need to verify any audio, it is on my community board. Let's chop it up. Hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to this very crazy story of another corrections officer helping a man get out. I believe the last lady, she was a corrections officer, but she worked in the prison with the inmates. I believe it was the craft room or something that did this many years ago. Many people were stunned at her behavior as well. Let's chop it up. Here we go. Hit the link if you want to be heard. Give your opinion pertaining to this very baffling story coming out of Alabama. Why would she risk her freedom, livelihood? Was she so miserable, lonely, that she got in cahoots with this man who was in prison originally when she met him, came to her facility briefly for a hearing, then went back to prison, then wanted to get back up there where she was? Was it because of her he wanted to get back up there? Or was he finding a way in his mind to find somebody to dupe, to help, he could talk into rather, to get him out of there? Okay? So you have to ask yourself those questions. Did he honestly go back because it was bad where he was in prison? He got shanked allegedly. He admitted to killing Connie Ridgway. Then he changed it back, saying, no, I didn't. His mom is saying, oh, that's the only reason why he admitted to killing Connie is because he wanted out of the prison. Or is it because he met her briefly and decided, I'm going to use her to get myself into that jail and then break out? Use her to break out. It's a two-part question. Was this orchestrated once he met her in the jail years ago? Use her to get back up there to get him out? Or was it love, infatuation? How long have they been communicating? When did the plot begin to break him out of jail? Was it his idea or hers? Who all knew that they were messing around or liked each other, or there was favoritism? Did they ever do anything sexual in the jail? We have to go there and ask that question. So far, nobody's mentioned that in any news because that's a bit salacious, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. This is a commentary channel. Did they do anything sexual in the jail? Because the sheriff is trying to say all the talking and whatever was off the clock. But she showed them favoritism in the jail. The inmates are saying that, some of the inmates. So you have to ask that question too. Who all knew that something was going on between the two? They liked each other or what? Did she actually do anything with him in the jail? Was there any type of touching? Because she's the one that could transport the inmates in or out. So she could have easily taken him somewhere in a private room, did something with them. Just saying. It's not to be nasty, but let's just keep this real. She had access to the inmates. The sheriff tells you that. When they were gossiping amongst the inmates about these two, did it ever get to a superior's desk that these two did something, liked each other? She's showing them favoritism. Did somebody ever confront Miss Vicky about her relationship with Casey White? The booking situation. Was there an actual mental evaluation on the books for her to take him out of the jail? If not, who is going to stand account for this discrepancy? So you all got to ask all those questions because somebody's job is on the line now pertaining to her taking him out of the jail. What was on the paperwork to get him out of the jail? Is there an actual timestamp that's legit of a real visit out of the jail? Will he harm her? Some of you are questioning that in the chat. Some of you thought that he might kill her, hurt her. One of you said they're going to go their separate way. That makes no sense. I'm not going to risk selling my house, leaving my mother behind, my dog behind, my friends behind, my job behind, my pension behind, to get somebody out of jail to then separate. That makes no sense. That's all for nothing. How long are they going to stay on the run? Will she get tired? Because remember, this is not her daily grind. He's a felon. He's a misfit. He wanted out. And perhaps he used her to get him out. This was his ultimate plan from years ago. They have said he's tried to get out before, possibly other facilities. Who came up with this ruse to get him out? Did she say, hey, I like you, I'm in love with you, let's hatch a plan? Or did he say it to her first? Hey, I like you, I care for you, I didn't kill that lady, they've made a mistake, I need to get out of here, I'm going crazy, I'm about to lose my mind, I love you, help me. And she said yes. Did she already plan a hideaway for this excursion. Because you see, her house has been sold for less value. She purchased a truck that they already got the model and make on. So who's to say that she didn't already get a place for them out of state? They did say something about her checking into a hotel. What hotel is that and where is it located? These are the questions you ask. The when, the where, the how, and how long. This is a dangerous man because he has taken more than one life. And I think he admitted to Miss Connie's murder because he didn't think he was getting out. He already had a 75-year sentence. So he said, well, what the hell? I'll go on and tell him I killed her. But then he recanted. I think he recanted when he realized he had found him a mark to help him get out, which is Vicky White. Hit the link. Give your opinion. You don't have to sit in the chat. Give your opinion. Why did she do it? Why did she risk her livelihood, her quaint life in the South, good old Alabama, to go run with an inmate? Why do it? Telling her for what, Bree? All she would have done was bailed out and quit her job or retired, and they would have given it to her. You had to know that they were gossiping about her in the jail. If the inmates are gossiping, then that means the other people who work in the jail were gossiping. People can notice things. People talk. So you have to ask yourself the ultimate question. How did he get extra food on his plate? You want me to believe she worked in the kitchen too? She's back there putting food on their plates. You know she wasn't putting food on her plates. She liked him, so she made a way for him to get food on his plate. So that means she had to go back there and ask somebody to do it. And then naturally somebody would be wondering, well, who was all this extra food for? What did I tell you? People talk. People talk in jail. They talk in prison. They talk in the streets. This is how it goes. You have an opinion pertaining to Vicky and Casey, this very diabolical plan that was exacted. It wasn't just a Netflix Lifetime movie. This is real. She got him out of there. So how long did it go on? Got Miss Melissa B as my first commenter. Thank you, Melissa.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay. What do you think about what Vicky has done?
Well, my goodness. Okay. So let me tell you something, all right? Okay. I've always wanted to be a police officer, so I am irritated as F, right?
Why?
I am in Minnesota. I live in Washington County. And my sheriff here would not have any of these shenanigans. Now, the reason I'm saying this, I've been involved with somebody at a jail. Okay. This was years ago. This was over 10 years ago that this happened. I got duped. Okay, thinking, oh yeah, you, and everything's gonna be good.
Stand up. Listen.
It's gonna be good.
Melissa,
we're gonna be fine.
Melissa,
what?
Melissa, tell me how you met, how long you talked to him, and then the situation.
I met him over the phone.
Okay.
A girlfriend of mine, my roommate, had introduced me to this guy over the phone, and I thought, okay, well, I'll be nice and talk to this guy. I had no idea how many people behind him he had on the outside, like with drugs and stuff, and I didn't know that, like, my life was in danger 3 months after I started seeing this guy.
So this is when he got out?
No, this was while he was inside.
Okay.
And then when he got out, it got worse.
Okay.
I had to change my name.
Listen. How long was he in there, dear?
6 months.
So he got out of jail. What was his charge for being inside?
He was a dealer.
Okay, so he gets out. What
Methamphetamines. Methamphetamines.
So what happened when he got out, Melissa?
When he got out, he had other people following me.
Because?
When I went to work, where I was with my friends, when I was with my kids.
Because?
Because he was paranoid.
Okay, but he was paranoid because why?
Because he was involved in drugs.
Okay, but what does that have to do with you?
Well, because, listen, so there was one day he got arrested for the third time.
I see. So he thought
Okay.
you called.
Yes. Now, I did not know what was going on the third time.
Okay. Did you ever call the police on him, Melissa?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No,
so
I did
told
not.
on him?
The reason I'm saying this is I went to my car and there was a noose hanging from my rearview mirror. A noose.
Okay.
You know, a noose. And
I know what a noose is.
I fled out of that. I dipped. Okay. And I changed my name. I changed the county I was in. I changed everything. And I'm saying that since that time,
okay,
the county that I live in, the sheriff's department, I've dealt with them off and on with my son and his charges that he had since he was a teenager.
Okay.
Now, the sheriff that I have now, he don't F around.
Yeah.
If there's something going on right now where I'm at, something's been going on that I don't know about the last 3 days. There's been undercover and squad cars around our block.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea what it's for. But guess what? All I'm saying is when they steal a Cadillac converter out of the ramp, out of somebody's car in our area, on our block, that is solved.
So, well, you know, anything is possible in a jail. It's just like jail and court and church, they're all the same. There's always going to be something underhanded. There's always going to be somebody that turns a blind eye. There's always going to be somebody that knows something. That's just life. That's why I keep trying to tell people. Don't get stunned because of something like this. This stuff goes on all the time. They help them bring in paraphernalia, drugs, cell phones. How do you think the people in jail and prison have phones? Because the guards bring them in.
Oh.
So a lot of people,
I didn't know that.
You can't tell me. Well, how do you think a phone gets in jail? Just think about that for a second.
Well,
you can't bring it in visiting because you get checked. So how else would it get into jail or prison?
Oh, yeah, that would definitely be from a card then.
Because they pay them.
Yes, because they're getting paid. Right. So
that's underhanded shit that goes on all the time in prisons and jails. It's going to stay that way.
I live in a state where I don't have that kind of stuff going on.
Yes, you do. Melissa, come on now.
Well, I've never heard of something.
Stuff goes on everywhere. Just because they don't tell Melissa does not mean it doesn't go on.
I'm gullible enough to think that I thought this sheriff was taken against her own will.
You don't even. You don't even know what the sheriff is doing. You don't even know what your own sheriff is doing.
Okay. Well, I suppose you're right. But I thought she was taken against her will, and now I'm finding out different.
Think about what you're saying. There's cameras in there. How could he take her against her will if he's handcuffed and shackled?
Well, he could have threatened her. You know what I mean?
No, I can't.
He could have threatened her.
I can't agree with that.
Some kind of duress is
because
what I
there's
thought.
Always people around. They have cameras in hallways, vestibules.
Yes.
There's no way he could threaten her handcuffed and shackled.
Right. Now I see different, though, is what I'm saying. Now I see different. And I worry about her safety.
Okay, you're muffling, whatever you're doing.
Oh, sorry. I worry about her safety now at this point.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think he will harm her?
He sounds dangerous and large and in charge, and I think that she was vulnerable like I was at some point.
Yeah.
And
well,
thinking, everything's okay and everything will be okay. And I think that, but she's been seeing him since 2020 is what the sheriff said today.
Yeah. So we have to now ask ourselves, what have they verified as to get that information?
Right. Right.
How do you know it was 2020? Is it because he came to the jail and you're just assuming that that's how they met and got in cahoots? Or did it jump off when he got up there this last time?
Well, I heard the sheriff, was it the sheriff or was it just the news?
Melissa, what are you doing?
that
breaking
said
up.
that they've been seeing each other since 2020.
Well, what I think
That
they're
she
assuming
visited
that.
him
Listen,
in jail
Melissa.
in 2020, and I didn't know
Well, that's
that
what I'm
until
saying.
today.
He came there for an arraignment, so they're probably assuming that's how they first started.
Did you hear about that?
Oh Lord, yes. If you
What?
let me finish, he came there in 2020 for an arraignment, and I'm assuming that is their assumption that that's how they first crossed paths. Because when he went back to prison, they're saying that they were pen pals, and both parents are alluding to the fact that or his mother is saying he told her he had a pen pal, but she didn't know it was her. But that doesn't necessarily mean it was her. It could have been a lot of different women he could have been writing to and calling. So that's what I'm saying. Where's the verification that they were talking, writing letters in 2020 up until recently?
Well, yeah, and how did it just happen that he ended?
You have to have some verification that the two were talking.
Okay.
After he
And then-
first came.
And then how did you just happen to go into her jail this year?
Well,
because didn't he get transferred this year?
Listen. Melissa, you're not listening. He has been to the jail, honey, before in 2020.
Oh.
So that's what they're saying. Possibly that's how they first met, talked. Because when he went back that last time to go back to the prison, they are saying that they were talking and communicating. Turn your devices on, Bree.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm talking to somebody else that's trying to.
Oh, I'm like, what? What did I do?
Let me tell them to turn the devices on. Hold on.
Yeah, I want to hear more people's
Well,
more
if they hit
people's
the link, we can do
opinion.
this. Okay, here's Bree. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello, Bree. Where are you calling me from?
Oh, Indiana. Sorry, I've never used a StreamYard before.
That's okay. Okay. So you're calling me from Indiana?
Yes.
Okay. What do you have to say about Vicky aiding him out of the jail?
I mean, I don't know.
I beg your pardon?
I said I don't know why she did it. However, with that
Okay,
being
you don't know why. You don't know why she did it. What do you mean you don't know why she did it? Come on now.
I mean, I mean, she's a dumbass.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's about all I can say is like she's dumb.
Well, do you think he will harm her, Bree?
Yes.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why.
Because why not? She's dead weight. It's not, you know, I mean, if he gets
wait,
caught.
slow down. He what?
Sorry, this thing is very odd. I said, yes, I do, because she's just dead weight.
Dead weight, okay.
He can't get caught because if he does, he's not going to be able to re-escape.
Okay.
And why wouldn't he?
I see. How long do you think they'll last out there?
Because of his height,
Mm-hmm.
if she's even still alive, I don't think long.
Okay.
Somebody's got to be going to get his stuff.
Do you think there'll be a standoff and he'll possibly kill himself because he don't want to go back to prison?
I hope not, but he's done it before, so
yes,
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I wouldn't want to go back to prison.
Do you think that they're in love or she's in love with him?
Yes. Well, him, no. I think that he sold her an illusion.
Okay. Do you think this started back in 2020 when he first came up and then they started talking after he went back?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think he planned this because he knew her position in transporting inmates?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's what I believe too. That he knew her position, that she's had that position possibly in 2020, let's say. So he took advantage of that, and that's why he wanted to get back up to that jail.
Yes.
Okay. It's a very sick situation because, you know, as I just was telling Melissa, people do all kind of things in prison and jails, inmates and staff members showing favoritism, sexual relations. You know, we have heard of women inmates becoming pregnant by guards and other staff members. So it does happen. So I also was wondering, did they even have sex inside of the jail?
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because how long could you hold out? Let's just say.
I mean,
Once
hold
you
on,
like
he was in
somebody,
that jail. I don't think
what
she
I'm saying.
did.
You know what I'm saying when people like each other. So.
I mean, since he's been in that jail with her, I'm sure they didn't hold out.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you kind of, well, not really, but kind of two different situations. I don't know if you know about the escaped inmate here, Sarah Pender, and it's
No,
she
I haven't.
messed with the correctional officer, and I mean, literally, almost like kind of the same escape plan, but he wasn't even as high up as this lady is.
Okay.
So, I mean, because like it seems like that lady could just do whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
'Cause,
how do you feel about his mother saying he's not a monster?
I don't know, because I mean, if it was my kid, oh my God. I mean, I could honestly say my kid did, something monstrous, but maybe she's just in denial and she doesn't want to say that about her kid just because that's his mom.
Okay.
Nobody.
What about his other crimes? Burglary, murder. He recanted killing Miss Connie Ridgway. Do you think he confessed to her crime just so he could get his way up here to this jail, or he really did kill her and wished and turned it around because he realized he made a mistake by recanting once he met Miss Vicky?
I mean, I think he did kill her. I do think he killed her.
Oh, you think so? You do think he killed? Okay.
I do think he killed her. So I don't know, and I've heard that area is pretty small, and I don't really know what kind of deals they can make, if any, over there. But I do think he killed her.
Okay. So why would he kill her? Probably
according to the son, they were friends, and that's who she was with the night that she was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Just according to her son.
Okay.
And I mean, I think he's a killer. He'd kill anybody. So
yeah, because he stole that woman's truck. He shot at her, so he doesn't really care about pulling out a weapon on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe okay, maybe this is just me, but I wouldn't confess. But he's crazy. I wouldn't confess to killing.
Yeah, this is why I said, this is why I was telling you all to listen to the details. I think he confessed originally because he had got a 75-year sentence for those crimes and he knew he wasn't coming out of there. I think at some point he got in cahoots with Vicky and saw a way out, so then he recanted the confession. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That could be very possible. Nothing surprises me.
He recanted after he met her and realized this was his way out of the prison. And it worked. How about that? It worked. If that
I could see that. Maybe she even gave him the advice to do it, because I mean, I keep calling her a dumbass because this was a stupid thing to do.
Okay. Well, people do stupid things when it's not involving breaking somebody out of.
But she had to be smart. I mean, maybe she told him to do it. The sheriff, I thought, had said they had contact since he was in.
So you never. So let's go here. So let's go here then. So Bree, you've never done anything stupid or felonious for a man.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes. Oh.
Okay. So that's why I'm saying each level is different. There are women who will sell drugs for a man, commit a crime with a man, for a man, hide dope, guns, all that. It's really no different. The only difference is she was in an authoritative position and people expected better of her. That is the only difference. But to aid somebody that is a wrongdoer, especially if it's dealing in felonious behavior, wrong is wrong. Whether you're free or not free, in authoritative position or not, people still will judge you. Why did you do that? Why would you let somebody talk you into that? Why would you keep a felon in your house? Why would you hide a felon out in your house? People do it all the time. People go on the run and people hide them out knowing they're on the run. How are you different?
How am I?
I'm just talking about in general. How is anyone different is what I'm saying.
I think I think how she is different. Just like the guy that helped Sarah Pender escape was different.
Perhaps she was lonely. She found somebody. He just happened to be an inmate. And she fell for whatever he spun to her, sweet talk, because it wasn't pillow talk, because they never had sex on a, you know what I mean, a bed. So, not that I know of.
I guess
So
I'm more curious on what started that much
he sweet talked
contact.
her, and she fell for it, which a lot of women fall for things. Because let me tell you something. If a person has the gift of gab or a way of talking, and or if a person's just nice and offer things, you can be easily duped into things and not even willingly have the person doesn't even really have to be selling you anything. You can just be a nice person and say, oh, you need something, you need this. And then one day in offering them something, they take advantage of you.
Yeah, that's sad. I'm still wondering how they had that much contact, which obviously it happens because they're not, you know what I mean? Like, obviously the COs are not supposed to be, they're supposed to be like poker face and nonchalant. They're not supposed to talk to you that much.
Yeah, but this is the South. You don't live down here, do you?
I don't. No, I don't. I'm Indiana.
Okay, so here in the South, we talk a lot. We gab a lot. We tell our business. Lots of us, you know, I've done it today. I was venting and talking about something personal today. I didn't give a damn because I was angry. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So that's what a lot of Southerners do. They talk.
And they're usually very friendly and very nice. And
yes, and so just so happened in this country bunking jail, she was too nice. I'm not making excuses for her, but what I'm trying to say is she willingly went along. I'm not making any excuses for her. She went along because at some point she knew what she was doing was wrong when she started talking to him outside of the jail. And she set herself up for disappointment, major disappointment. She knew better, but she went ahead with whatever he was talking about, engaged in conversation, sweet talk, whatever. And now she sold her house, left her mother, her dog to go on the run. That's deep. That's past manipulation and coercion.
And she just called to ask about her sick dog, and I have I had a theory until I guess I found out that she already had a car waiting in the parking lot.
Yeah, she had a car waiting. What is it, 25 miles east? So she had already bought a car. So that's why I was trying to tell people, you have to look at everything that's been said. She already sold her house. She already had bought a car. So that also means she would be also smart enough to possibly already have the hideaway ready. Stay woke.
And well, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have a little bit of record myself, but I'm not, you know, like I'm not on that level, nor am I that
Well, you don't
smart.
have to admit anything. We can't see you. It doesn't really matter. My point is that we as women and men as well have all done something foolish for people that we saw signs that they were not proper. This to me is just an extensive decision to aid somebody. But people do stupid stuff for people every day. Very stupid stuff when you knew that they weren't right, they weren't worthy of your time, but you trusted them. You trusted them, and then they bamboozled you. It happens every day.
I'm just wondering how like she couldn't be. And I mean, I get it. I mean, my child's father, you know, he's scary, but I mean, I like that's a different setting. I wonder if she's scared, or I wonder, like, after she escaped with him, and, you know, like, this is it, you know, obviously she can't turn back.
So what are you saying? You think that she might have possibly changed her mind once she got to getting on the run?
Yeah, because, like, you know what I mean? Like, once, like, they're on the run and it's a done deal, you know, maybe after that point, like, I'd be scared because I'd be like, okay, well, illusion is done. This is real.
Yeah, because it may have been that Bonnie and Clyde rush until you actually got into it and realized it's not what you thought, because you're now talking about they've been gone day 5.
Because he's scary to me. I mean, so I don't know, he's just, and I feel like if he really did care about her, I mean, you know what I mean? He wouldn't have wanted her to risk her job and blah, 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 blah. But I get it. Like, I guess, like, when you're in prison and jail, you know, you have to be selfish and only think about yourself because it's all you know. And
yeah, somebody in the chat says they believe she felt sorry for him. She's soft. She may be a soft person. Maybe that was her downfall. And who's to say this is not her first person she's had some type of romantic relationship, kinship with in the jail or prison?
And I mean, she knows they can't cheat.
How many other women has he tried to talk to on the outside, which we know people gonna want companionship whether they're locked up or not, no matter what the charge is. There are women who will willingly talk to a murderer, hold a conversation. People do it. We do it. I've talked to people and they've done some stuff they had no business doing.
I mean, I've talked to murderers. I'm fascinated with them. I've talked to just because I guess I'm interested. I've written a couple.
Tell me why you're fascinated with somebody that murdered somebody.
I think it just fascinates me on how the human mind works. I truly believe some people snap.
Okay. So so do you believe he snapped in two separate situations?
No, I just think I do also believe that some people are just mean.
Evil.
And they just don't care.
Would you date a murderer, Bree?
No.
Okay. You wouldn't marry a murderer?
I wouldn't, because I still, and this is just me, I still believe, like, whether you snapped or whether you did it for whatever reason, you are always capable of doing it again.
Well, we know he's capable of doing it again because he's done it twice already.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So no, I would not, because he's, obviously
he did one in the commission of a burglary, and then allegedly Connie was a hit. So whether it was a hit or not, he's just making that up. The point is, it's two separate incidents that you can't make excuses for.
Right. So I mean, no, I would not date a murderer. No. But no, I don't think he is one of those that just snap. I just think he's a piece of
evil. Yes, I think he's just a person that's self-serving. And when he went out to do whatever self-serving act, you got in his way. He shot, killed, stabbed you. That's what I think of. Casey.
Yeah. So, no, I think he's the kind of person that is very conscious when he's killing somebody.
Yeah, he's conscious.
Like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. If you all want to join us in this conversation, you have something you have to say about Casey White, Vicky White, how this woman came to be, of getting involved with him and aiding him out of the jail, forfeiting her life, selling her house undervalued, leaving behind her mother, dog, friends, comrades, retiring, not going to get her pension now. Why do all this to go on the run with a felon/murderer? Hit the link. It's very baffling. But you don't know people. I've come to realize that recently. You don't know people. Even when you see signs that they're not right, aloof, vague, you don't know people. There's some very evil people out here that will do anything to you, don't care about you. As I always say, stab you in your chest, not your heart. I mean, not your back, but they'll stab you in the chest, let you see it coming. Because they don't care. And one thing that I've heard recently from some people that I've talked to about a certain situation is that when a person doesn't have anything to lose, they don't mind stepping on top of you, using you, manipulating you, conning you, lying to you, because they don't have any empathy. They don't care. And I can't see this man having any empathy because he's taken lives for no reason. They weren't self-defense. So he doesn't care about human beings. He doesn't have respect for women or care for women. God forbid if he's somebody's father. We never heard that he was somebody's father. Casey is dangerous indeed. So if you see him or Miss Vicky, do not approach them. Do not try to be Captain Save-A-Hole to try to make the news, because indeed you might make it, but it won't be in the way that you think you will. The man is 6'9". That means he's a giant. You're not going to be able to just run up on him and subdue him. You would have to know who he is for sure and come from the back. Pretty says she regrets it. Well, we'll never know until we get an ending. Hopefully, she won't go down in flames with Mr. Casey in the worst way, because if there's a standoff, he may take his life and take hers as well, if he has not already. I did not want to think of him taking her life as of yet, but some of you have made that commentary, and I'm questioning why some of you would even think he would kill her. Could it be perhaps this empty vessel actually has feelings for Vicky White? Could it be he actually cares for her, loves her? He feels close to her. She's aided him, shown him support, got him out. Could it be he feels indebted to her? I'm not going to kill her. She got me out of here. I owe Vicky. Could it be that? You never know. You never know. Hit the link. You have something you want to say? You want to bring a story? You have a story to tell of being duped and or following in behind somebody, believing in them, thinking that they were a nice person or they seemed nice or they pretended to be nice, even though you knew things about them that weren't kosher, proper, and you fell for it anyway because you liked them, interested, in love, loved them. Trace Pretty says, I'm a risk taker, but I wouldn't risk it with an inmate. I see. Well, that's why I said we as people take a risk all the time with people. We're just not Vicky. We don't have Vicky's title, had her title. But the point is, people take risk every day. When you hook up with people you don't know and start talking and dating people and giving them your personal information, inviting them to your house, getting in your car, loaning them things, money, your vehicle, you don't know them. And especially if they don't act right and you're doing these things for them, you're taking a risk then. Bree says he had to be nice in jail. He probably isn't so nice in the free world as we know. That is possibly so. That's possibly so. Because that's the whole thing. People act a certain way in certain places. But then when they get out of sight, they show you who they really are. And we all have learned that from people who we thought we knew. And then one day we saw another side of him or her that was not conducive and not proper. Evil, perhaps. And then sometimes people still deal with them even when they see they're evil, spiteful. But as I told you the other day in talking about Miss Pomoski, whose remains have been identified, you have to be very careful the company you keep dealing with people. You don't know people. Everybody is not your friend. Everybody does not mean you well, doesn't wish you well. And just because somebody is in your peripheral, in your company, it does not mean that he or she values you or cares for you. Sometimes people just do things to have something to do. And we've learned that with a lot of men. They'll just be in a woman's company, but they don't care for her. They don't love her. They don't like her. And then when some shit pops off, he blames her. You just don't know people. And somehow this woman probably thinks she knows him because she's talked to him for a while. But there's no way she could say she possibly knows him because he's killed people for no reason. He's had no valid reason to snuff out two separate human beings. So how is it that you know him? What would possess you to want to be in his company? To give up your livelihood, to run off with him, and he's murdered people. Why would you want to be with a murderer? And there are people who have murdered people, and maybe it was self-defense, and they've gone on to date other people, and somebody found something redeeming in him or her, because you see it all the time. Murderers dating, remarrying, marrying. So somebody does it. Is it right? It's your interpretation. Pretty says, well, she must be really naive to think this criminal mean her any good. She ain't thinking straight. Okay. Yes. True. We all want to be loved and we hope for the best. This is true. We do hope for the best, some of us. That is why you get hooked up with the wrong people, is hoping that they will be all right. Let's see where it can go. I hope he or she will act right this time. But in the end, you end up becoming just a patsy for a self-serving machine. And I do believe Mr. Casey is a machine. That's all he is a vessel, empty vessel. He found him a willing participant, another empty vessel who was possibly lonely, needed a man, wanted camaraderie, wanted friendship, wanted love. And he told her whatever she wanted to hear. You know, my father told me that many years ago as a young woman. He said, a man will tell you anything to keep you quiet and keep you holding on. Tell her what I want her to know. Doesn't mean it's the truth. And people do that all the time. Even when it's not even a relationship, courtship, or entanglement. Could be business, school, church, whatever. I tell you what I want you to know. What I feel like telling you. I don't need to tell you everything because it's none of your business. And the sad part about people is learning them after the fact, giving them a chance, chances, plural, hoping he or she is different this time. But then you have to learn the hard way when something terrible happens. And then you're sitting there looking stupid and mad at yourself because you've allowed this thing to come in your peripheral once again, and he or she has betrayed you. And I got a feeling they probably won't end very well for Miss Vicky and Casey, because he's diabolical. Well, Bree, that's the point. Anybody can be vulnerable, foolish, have insecurities. And that, like I said, living in a small town, she probably didn't have many choices of men to date. And I'm not making any excuses, but these things happen. People get hooked up with people due to their demographics, where they live. Everybody knows everybody. She didn't want any of those men. And like I said, you don't know what he told her. They've probably been talking for 2 years, less than 2 years. There's no telling what he told her. And he had to lay it on thick once he realized her title, her position. I gotta make her believe in me, want me. What do you mean, why now did she wait? What difference does it matter when she did it? I told you he possibly did this because of her title. Well, he was only there a brief while in 2020. That's what I just said to you all. He only came up to that jail briefly, and then he went back to prison. So 9 times out of 10, he was conversing with her when he went back. So he formulated this plan to dupe her due to her position, bait her, asked to be back to that jail. He actually got back up there. So I believe it was an intricate plan to bait Miss Vicky. I like her. She talks to me now. We're talking. I don't like this jail I'm in, this prison. Let me see if they will transfer me back up there. Because you got to remember, he's going to trial in Lauderdale for the murder of Miss Ridgway, excuse me, Miss Connie. So he planned this, I do believe. No, please don't mention any other channels. No, ma'am. Causes problems. I do believe that. I do believe that he planned this. I'm going to get back up there some kind of way. I'm going to get back up there. I like her. I think I can get this woman to get on my team. Get me out of this situation. Yeah, well, pretty we know it's a stupid decision. That's no argument. But we do stupid stuff all the time. That's what I'm trying to make all of you understand, is that she just happened to be a corrections officer who had a life and forfeited for a felon/murderer. But people do things for people like Casey all the time. People do things for people who aren't felons and murderers all the time. There are men out here who haven't committed any crimes, and they have been afforded the opportunity to be taken care of, to be enabled to do nothing, be bums. Do you understand what I'm saying? People are used every day. Used for their money, used for their body, used for their time, used for their car, used for their resources, used for their home. Yes, love is blind. But was this love? Because I do not believe this was love. But that's the thing about somebody being in your ear, whispering sweet nothings to you. Oh, I like you. I care for you. I need you. You mean the world to me. I can't live without you. Thank you for everything. What would I do without you? You wouldn't believe how people can lay it on thick and dupe people into doing things. And then they can be abrasive, nasty, and still be chased by somebody. We've all been down that road, liking people who meant us no good, evasive, ghosting us, not calling, not talking, not responding. Then they pop up when they want on a whim. And that's my message to all of you in this live today. Once again, I'm going to bring another message, as I did in the live the other night, pertaining to Miss Pomoski, who is now deceased. Be very careful of the company you keep. When you see the signs that people are not right, they appear to be self-serving, run like hell. Because in this situation, she knew better. This isn't your typical situation of a guy lying to a lady about petty stuff. This is totally different. He is a felon and a murderer, was awaiting trial. She aided him out. It's totally different. But my message for those on the outside dealing with frivolous people, you have to know your worth. You have to say to yourself, I'm valuable. I'm not happy with the situation. The person I'm dealing with, him, he's not giving me what I want, what I need. I don't like the way he talks, the way he acts. He's not around. He's not there for me. He's self-serving, empty vessel floating around, taking up free oxygen. See, that's something some people don't like to hear that. But there are a lot of people here who have been afforded the opportunity to breathe because, you know, we don't pay for oxygen, but they don't even deserve that because they're nasty, vile beings. And what I have said to somebody recently, what comes around goes around. Your day is coming because God don't like ugly. Be very careful the company you keep. Be careful doing favors for people, and then they turn on you when shit isn't right. The blame cause you more problems financially, and don't pull the weight and leave you holding the bag. Ignore you. I say it's okay because God's got it. Because what I always say, you'll need me in the end before I will need you. And this is a very sick, wicked tale of sweet talk. She gave up a lot because more than likely she could have had a good life with some man had she took the time out to try to meet somebody, but she didn't give herself a chance. Instead, she fell for a felon and a murderer. She should have got out more. She should have went places where men frequent. It doesn't have to be in her town. Go to a town over, 2 towns over. Get on a date site, even though we know people aren't right on the date sites either, because people are people. I tell you all that all the time. But the point is, she didn't give herself a chance to get out. Just like her mother said, I didn't know nothing. She didn't tell me anything about a man or him or anybody else. She had the same routine every day. She came home. She ate dinner here. Walked her dog, picked up her dog, went home. They lived next door, if I'm not mistaken. So she had a very ho-hum life. I mean, hell, she lived next door to her mother. Do the math. Who wants to live next door to their mother? Not to be funny, but you can't have company. It's kind of odd to live next door to your parents if you want to date and you're single. So maybe at one point she gave up on dating. Didn't want to. Who knows? But this wasn't the way to go. And Vicky, I think you know that now. 5 days on the run can't be good for you. Did you plan this with him all along back in 2020, or was this recently? What did he say to you for you to forfeit your life, your job, your pension, your mother, your dog? What is familiar to you in Alabama, Miss Vicky? Is it worth it to you now, 5 days in? Or can you even hear us? Because we don't even know if you're alive or not. And I told people, don't focus on that because it's negative. The mother is probably already sick to death worrying about her child. And I do not want to think that he has harmed her in any way, but she is dead weight because he is already a tall man who has to conceal his own identity. And being damn near 7 feet tall, how can you conceal that? You can't. He'd have to wear a wig, baseball caps, hat, cowboy hat, to conceal his identity. Wear a mask, shades. Lucky for him, we're still wearing masks here in America. So he can get away with that, wearing a mask, buy a fake beard. She's probably bought all those things. Did that ever occur to any of you? The disguises were already bought, ordered. Because I'm sure down the road, you're going to find out a lot of things about Vicky White. What she's bought, purchased. She probably already purchased things to conceal she and his identities. Wigs, hair color, contacts, shades, all of that. Well, they possibly will win a stupid prize. Hopefully it won't be death. Because like I said, I don't think he's going to want to go alive, Mr. Casey. Why this time? He's free. I ain't going back. I do believe that was the reason for baiting this woman. And sadly, she fell for it. But who's to say she didn't come up with the idea? See, you never know, because as the sheriff thinks he knows her, knew her, district attorney, they're all talking about how disappointed they are. But the point is, you didn't know Vicky White. She probably didn't know herself. You think she's sitting up here saying to herself, damn, I can't believe I just did this. I forfeited all for this man. And like someone in the chat said, he may not be that nice guy he was in jail behind closed doors. Yes, $95,000 is going to go very fast. Because as I said, did she plan it thoroughly? Did she plan a hideaway? Did she get a place? Because see, had she sold her house for the real value, which is $200,000+, she would have had a nice nest egg on her to go on the run. But all it takes is for one person to see you out and look and say, that looks like that corrections officer. Darker hair, shorter hair, but that looks like her. You see, there's always somebody watching, lurking, looking. As I call them, Captain Save-A-Hose. There's always going to be somebody looking, lurking, saying, that looks like that guy. That looks like that lady. I got to call 911. And that's all it takes. Marilyn says she's nothing to him now. Why you say that, Marilyn? Could it be they actually have real feelings for one another? Could it be Mr. Casey actually has feelings for Vicky White? Wouldn't that be interesting to know? He actually loves her, in love with her. She's in love with him. They're in love with one another. The feeling is mutual. He set it up, baited her, but maybe he actually has feelings for her. Could it be? Who's to say? We will never know. Because they'd have to bring them in alive, both, for them to tell the story of how they came to be in this crazy situation. It's a very baffling story. And I pray it works in her favor, that he does not harm her, and that somehow maybe she will change her mind and turn herself in so it doesn't end horribly for she. I'm already 2 hours into this live pertaining to Vicky White and Casey White, corrections officer who aided a felon murderer out of a jail out of Alabama. They are currently still on the run, day 5. No new news to where they can be located or found. If you have any information, call your local police department and or FBI agency. It's very sad. But she knew better. The sad part is that obviously she was lonely, because many of us are lonely people, get lonely. But we don't go to the drastic measures of doing something like this. But like I said, we've all done foolish things with people. We saw signs they weren't right, and we have done things, like I said, spent time, wasting our time trying to talk to them, be with them, loan them things, do things for them, favors, money, whatever it is. And then they duped us, set us up for a fall, and we were left holding the bag. It happens every day. People use people. As Dr. Fields says, hurt people hurt people. And that's exactly what people do. If you have something you want to say pertaining to this story, Vicky White, Casey White, hit the link, give your opinion. If not, I will check out of here, because I think I've said everything I need to say. That I do believe he orchestrated this plan when he started talking to her back in 2020. I think he realized the position she had of transporting inmates in and out of the jail. That was his ruse to put a bid in to go to that jail after coming up to that jail years ago. When he got back from that jail, she and he, I believe, started talking. And I think that's when he put the ball into motion. And for his dream, illusion, he made it happen. So that's something else to think about. He made it happen to get back to Lauderdale to make his way out. No, I have not heard anything about a husband. So here you have it. She's talking to me, writing me. She has a position to get me out to freedom. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to keep talking to her, baiting her, make her think I like her, care for her. I'm going to put a bid in to go back to this jail and say I'm not happy down here at this prison. They're hurting me, harming me, stabbing me, whatever. They're not feeding me. And these stupid people say, hell, why not? He's going to trial up here anyway. Let him stay on up here. But that was going to happen anyway if he was going to trial in Lauderdale. So really, I don't even know why I'm saying that about him baiting her to come up there to the jail, specifically to get out. But I still believe there's an intricate plan somewhere in this. Yes, he confessed to a murder. So that's what I'm saying. It still was an intricate plan. I still believe he had been talking to her and knew her position there and took that upon himself to say, let me come up with this plan about this murder. Say I didn't do it. 1 minute he's admitting to the murder of Miss Connie, then he's retracting it. So he was coming up here anyway for trial. Originally it was an arraignment. It's how he would have first came in contact with the corrections officer. They started talking. And I think in his mind, he decided, hey, I got a way to get myself possibly out of this prison. I'll say I didn't kill her. Keep talking to Miss Vicky. Asked to go back up there, trial, whatsoever, and then put the ball into motion to bait her to get me out of that jail. Still an intricate plan nonetheless. Yes, it's very evil. Now, his mother says he moved because he was the way he was treated, not getting enough food. But yet, he gets up here to this jail with her. She's making sure he gets extra food put on his plate. Guess he had a big appetite, 6'9". And people are naturally disappointed in her. Sheriff is talking to her like a father. Please turn yourself in. The district attorney is disgusted because she broke an oath. But see, the moral of the story is that you don't know people. The sheriff did not know Vicky White. The district attorney didn't know Vicky White. Vicky White's mother didn't know her own child. And Vicky White possibly doesn't know herself. Because who's to say she's not sitting somewhere in a hotel or somewhere with this man thinking, what the hell have I done to myself? I've just left all that I've known to go on the run with a complete stranger. If she's even alive, as some of you have been saying. Is she alive? I will pray and hope that she is. Because what life is Vicky White going to have if indeed she's alive and apprehended? She will also now sit in the same jail where she worked. How about that? If Vicky White is caught alive, she will then go back to the very jail that she worked 16 years. Imagine that. Imagine sitting in the very jail where you are opening and closing doors, serving food, transporting the inmates out of the cells to the infirmary, court, to now sit yourself in the very same cell that these people have sat in for years. Something she should be thinking about. Something she should have thought about before. What if I get caught with him? Caught alive. I'll be sitting in the same jail with these inmates. She wasn't thinking, as somebody said earlier. Miss Vicky wasn't thinking. She was not using the part of her brain that says, you know, this is wrong. But as I said, we as people have made many mistakes in dealing with people, doing wrong for people, aiding them in wrongdoing. Many people have done it. She is not the first, and nor will she be the last. But she has made a grave mistake because Miss Vicky could have had a full life had she sat and thought about it first. She could have been out here meeting and mingling with decent people, going to functions to meet a nice man. She didn't give herself a chance to find a decent man. And possibly had she been out here dating and spent less time talking to him and being a pen pal with him and being fascinated with him, she could have been out here meeting a decent guy. Older, younger, whatever her preference is. It's not any of my business. But she didn't give herself a chance. And she's like a lot of people. See, that's what some of you don't seem to understand. Vicky is not different than many women. She knew what she was doing was wrong. Just like many of us know the people that we have taken up with, we had no business dealing with them. It wasn't severe as her position with him as a inmate, but we all have messed around with people who didn't mean us any good. They were no good. They were thieves, liars, manipulators, people who stayed in trouble with the law, people that's always got drama going on, always got something going on. It is the same damn thing. The only difference is she is now at risk of possibly being harmed and or being sent to jail. That is the only difference. Well, she probably has been duped by others, doing things for others. And that was another question I had at the beginning of this live. Has she had entanglements with other inmates over the years? Is Casey White her first entanglement? Has she also written to other inmates in jail or prison? Show favoritism to other inmates? Is she that type of woman that takes up with men locked up? Because you have women who are free and only prefer jail men, prison men. Stay woke. It happens every day. But there's some women who only date men who are locked up. I got wind of a certain female last year who dated two guys that everybody knew who were in prison at the same time. And they all knew each other, all grew up with each other. So one would say, why would you be dating one guy in prison after the other? And then you know them and they know each other. So you break up with one, he's in prison. Then you go date the other one and they all know each other. So one would look at her and say, what's her problem? Why is she choosing only jail men, prison men? So some would say she's something wrong with her. Or does she have some type of fascination with men locked up? She really doesn't have to be accessible. There's no sex, there's no nothing, just letter writing, video chatting, going to see them. But you can't do anything with them. He can't touch her. She can't touch him. Do you understand what I'm saying? I thought maybe something was wrong with her. I said, okay, dating one man locked up is one thing, but not another guy, and they both know each other from the same small town. That's a bit much. Because people talk. This is the dirty South. Hey, girl, did you hear she dating Pookie? Oh, they ain't together no more. She with Ray Ray now. Damn, what you talking about? Now one's free. So I wonder if they have canoodled since he's been released. You don't know people. Trust me, the queen can speak from experience. You do not know people. You see, the most interesting thing about being hoodwinked and bamboozled by people is having it done while free. See, he can talk game, jailhouse game, and see if he gets a willing victim participant. But the creepy part is when you're out here free with people and they run game and you fall for it. Even when you know something's not right. Something sounds off. Oops, that sounds like a lie. And you still talk to he, she anyway. My advice to you, and I'm going to keep saying it, run like hell. Well, Dixie, that's why I've already said in this live that everybody's made mistakes with people. People have done heinous things with people and were free. That's the point I'm trying to make. The woman was free, the man was free. And they did felonious things for the people while free, not locked up. People have aided fugitives out here. People have aided people in wrongdoing out here, free. And it's not any different. You can put yourself in jeopardy of your freedom doing things that's against the law while free for another free person. It happens every day. People go to jail for other people all the time, doing things that's wrong and illegal, getting wrapped up in drama. They lose their mind, their sense of direction. They go ham. They beat them to death, kill them, shoot them. All types of things happens all the time. Thank you, Marilyn. I doubt that I'll be dating anybody anytime soon. Trust me. At this point, I don't trust anybody. Hello, T. Thank you. Well, see, this is what happens when you're lonely. See, you listen at that garbage. I'll do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to help you when I get out. I'll be there for you. I need a wife. I need this. And then when they get out, they don't even look your damn way. And we know that most men who are coming out of prison, they're looking for a place to sleep or a place to be paroled. Stay woke. Especially if it's somebody you just met over the phone, online, through a friend, however. He's wanting to get in your house and you've only talked to him a week or two. That thing is looking for a place to be paroled to or a place to sleep and go to. Stay woke. It's a difference if you were talking to him for a year or two and you decided to let him live in your house once he's released or she's released. But a week or two, come on now. Good night, Reese. Hell to the no. Wherever you are, Vicky White, I hope you are safe. And I hope you know that you have made a very grave mistake. You have forfeited a life that some people possibly wish they had. You had a house, you had a car, you had a living mother, probably had a few good friends, money in the bank, and you did all this for a murderer. One would question your mindset and your judgment. As I said, we have all made mistakes. But you have made a grave mistake that could possibly cost you your life, not just going to prison, but your actual life, because you are bedding a murderer. The man has killed 2 people. So people would question why you were even pen paling him and knowing he has snuffed out 2 individuals for no reason. Thank you, sweetie. You had to have known it was not a good idea to be writing him, talking to him, calling him, or letting him call you, him calling you rather, in prison. And now you're on the run with a murderer. And who's to say he doesn't turn on you if he hasn't already? Because we don't know where you two are. We don't know if he's alive, you're alive, if you are well. You have worried your mother. So that shows me how selfish you are. Well, T, very good point. He could have another person waiting for him to get her money and drop her. And that's what I was thinking too. Not another person, but just get rid of her and take her money and dump her somewhere. If you know what I mean. He's got $95,000. Why split it in 2 when I can have it all for myself? Very good point. Because it's a dead weight carrying another person on the run. That's why people split up when they break out of jail and prison. 2 people, 3 people on the run break out of jail. It would be foolish for all 3 guys to run together. It would be foolish. I pray by the grace of God that Mr. Casey White has not harmed Vicky White. Because that would be the worst part of this story, is that he duped her, baited her to go along with this plan to then murder her and dump her and steal her money and stay on the run alone. This story would be absolutely out of control because it's bad already. We're going to also pray for Vicky White's mother because she is a very older woman who is now left to worry about the safety of her child. She also left behind a pet. So it shows you she didn't care for anybody, not even a dog. She's cold. No matter how you look at the story, Vicky's cold. Because you can't say you wanted a man so terrible that you would leave behind an elderly mother to worry about you and your safety. You knew his history and past. He's not some guy you met online, some guy you met across the street, made up stuff, sound good. You knew he was a murderer. You knew he broke in somebody's house and killed him. You knew he killed that lady. God knows what else he's done, because we don't really know what all he's done and what he's told you in confidence. And yet you still talk to him anyway, and then aided him out of the jail using your position. Sold your house, bought another car to facilitate this man to freedom. All right, Bonnie. This was a bad mistake, a grave mistake. And as I said, we've all done stupid things. But this was cruel to do to her own mother, who is elderly. This woman could die tomorrow. She would have died worrying about her grown-ass 56-year-old daughter who aided a felon murderer out of jail. That's cruel. That's very cruel. No way whatever he told you was worth abandoning your elderly mother. You didn't give yourself enough credit to find love the right way. And it's not to say you couldn't have been duped or manipulated by a regular Joe out here free, but it would have been better than this shit you just did here. We have no idea that it's love, George. But like I said, he could actually care for her. This could be his Bonnie to his Clyde. But we will never know until the two are apprehended, if they find them alive or deceased. We just have to wait and see. I thank you all for joining me to this very riveting story deriving out of Alabama. I want to get more information pertaining to Vicky White and Casey White. They are both on the run. Do not approach them. They are armed 9 times out of 10. Do not know where they are, where they're headed. Do not know if this woman is still alive or if he's still alive. But if you see anyone that resembles them, do not approach them. Call 911 immediately. There's a $10,000 reward for the apprehension of Casey White, the male, 6'9", Caucasian. Vicky White has a $5,000 reward for her capture. The total amount is $15,000. Yes, in Maryland, great point. Mother's Day is on the way. So what a mess to leave your mother 2 weeks before Mother's Day, to go on a run with a murderer. Vicky, I must say, you've outdone yourself. You have surely given your mother the worst Mother's Day gift that you could give a mother. I do not know how many more children this woman has. They have not mentioned any other brothers and sisters of Vicky White. I have not heard of any other brothers and sisters pertaining to Mr. Casey White. Just that both mothers have been interviewed by the news. Thank you all so much for joining me. You all have a safe night. But this is devastating. Casey's mother is upholding him as a good person. And Vicky's mother is stunned. What a comparison. Prayers for Miss Pomoski, who has been identified as decedent out of Houston, Texas. Out of Spring, Texas, excuse me. And prayers for Felicia Johnson, African-American female still missing, deriving out of San Diego, California. I do not have any new updates pertaining to her missing out of Houston, but prayers for her and her family, and prayers for Miss Pomoski, who has been officially identified as of last Friday as decedent. Remains were found in December of 21 in Harris County, Texas. Prayers for their families. There's more news going on. I wanted to bring you something crazy that happened to a certain comedian by Mr. Chappelle, but I didn't want to put it in this title. I just wanted to go ahead and carry this title on its own. But I'll bring you that said information tomorrow with other breaking news and stories. One story I found is very disturbing. It's on my community post of a woman left to die in her house. And her parents left her there, they say, for years, 12 years or so, neglect. And she basically melted into the sofa. Please check my community post for that said video. It's very disturbing. The photographs of what was left remains of a deceased woman. Her parents are now incarcerated, and they should get life for allowing their grown child to disintegrate in a home. And there's no way I believe this went on for 12 years, because without food and water, you would not make it 12 years. I think we all know that. But I think it started with them just letting her sit in her house. She didn't come out because of allegedly anxiety she had. And I think somewhere between her staying in that house and never wanting to come out for whatever reason she had, mental issues, her parents just followed suit and just stopped caring for their daughter. And have mercy on their souls to treat their own child this way. I have no empathy for these two vile machines, because it's no different than neglecting an infant, a toddler, school-age child, or a 36-year-old, 39-year-old daughter. It's all the same. Trifling is trifling. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you all so much for joining me. I will be bringing you more content tomorrow. You all stay safe. God bless all of you. Prayers for this wicked story out of Alabama. Even though we know Vicky was wrong for what she did by aiding Mr. Casey White out of that jail, we have to pray that he doesn't harm her, because she is in cahoots with a dangerous machine. Some people might not even feel sorry for her if indeed he brings harm to her or somebody else, because you have people who will feel that way. Well, she did this to herself. She brought this on herself. She knew what she was doing was wrong. She aided a murderer out of jail. Who cares what happens to her? Some may feel that way, but I'm not going to feel that way. She just made a grave mistake. And she needs to stand account. That's what I think, for what she did. She broke the law, and that's it. But she doesn't deserve to be murdered or hurt. She just needs to stand account for what she did. Thank you all so much for joining me. You all have a safe night. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you so much.